You ever just sit there, maybe you're having a slow afternoon, sipping on something cold, and you notice this little line of ants marching across your kitchen floor? Single file, laser focused, no breaks, no hesitation. And you just pause and think, man, what's their deal? They're always busy, carrying crumbs 5 times their size like it's no big deal, climbing walls like it's flat ground, never arguing, never stopping, just working constantly. At first glance, it almost looks impressive, like some kind of perfect little army. But the more you watch, the more it hits you. This is kind of messed up. Because here's the thing. If you could shrink yourself down and live just one day as a worker ant, not in a cartoon way, but really feel what they feel, you'd realize something pretty quick. Being a worker ant sucks. Not just Ugh Mondays suck, but your entire existence is labor with no reward, no rest, and no way out kind of suck. It's a life of duty without choice, a job that starts the moment you're born and doesn't end until you die. No holidays, no weekends, no sleeping in, no dreams. Just endless hustle, all for a queen you'll never meet and a colony that forgets you the second you're gone. So yeah, next time you feel a little bad for stepping on one by accident, you might have just done them a favor. Let me tell you why. From the very second a worker ant hatches out of her tiny egg, before she even stretches her legs or blinks her non-existent eyes, her fate is sealed. There's no ceremony, no announcement, just an unspoken rule hardwired into her body: you're a worker now. No dreams, no ambitions, no chance to ask, hey, what else is out there? She'll never wonder what it's like to fly. She'll never have a midlife crisis. She doesn't even get the dignity of choosing her path. She just wakes up one day and starts grinding, instinctively. No job interview, no training, no promotion, no quitting. Her whole world is a checklist that repeats until death. Feed the queen. Feed the babies, take care of the eggs, fix the walls, dig tunnels, haul food, guard the entrance, clean the nest, die. That's it. That's the whole arc. She's born into a life of unpaid, unending, underappreciated labor. And here's the wild part. Every single worker ant you see is female. That's right. The entire engine of the colony, every tunnel dug, every grain of rice hauled across the pavement, every battle fought tooth and claw, all done by the ladies. No breaks, no medals, no equity. It's not just a patriarchy. It's like someone copy-pasted a dystopian sci-fi novel and hit shrink to ant size. Think of it like this. Imagine being born into an all-girls boarding school, except the school is underground, the headmistress is a giant egg-laying machine, and your entire education consists of learning how to work yourself into the dirt. Literally. No weekends, no hobbies, no group chats, just relentless, thankless effort. And worst of all, she doesn't even know it's unfair. She was never given the idea that life could be anything else. Born to serve, and serve she will, until her legs give out and someone else takes her place. Because in the world of ants, you're not special. You're just next in line. Now let's talk about sleep. You know, that sweet, sacred, beautiful escape we get every night. That moment when you flop onto your bed, pull the blanket over your face, and drift into the void. Yeah, ants don't get that. They don't sleep like we do. No 8-hour marathons. No dreams about flying or showing up to school in your underwear. No snooze button. No bedtime routine. Not even a bed. What they get is something called polyphasic sleep. Basically a fancy way of saying, take a bunch of 1-minute power naps and hope you don't collapse. They nap in microbursts, about 250 times a day, just long enough to not shut down completely. So while we humans are out here crying about only getting 5 hours of sleep, worker ants are out here surviving on about 4 to 5 total minutes of unconsciousness in an entire 24-hour cycle. And during those naps, no dreams, no REM sleep, just off, and then immediately back on, like an old laptop that never fully shuts down. Why? Because the colony never stops. There's always something to do, always someone to feed, a tunnel to dig, a threat to deal with. It's a world where pausing is a weakness, and rest is basically an act of rebellion. And even when she's resting, she's not really alone. Other ants might crawl over her. The nest hums with vibration and pheromones. It's like trying to nap in the middle of a crowded airport, with no headphones, no chair, and no escape. Her body knows it needs rest, but it's also built to ignore it. Because in the grand machine of the colony, she's not an individual. She's a cog. And cogs don't get coffee breaks. So yeah, if you've ever pulled an all-nighter, felt that twitchy, fried zombie feeling, imagine living your entire life like that. That's the worker ant experience. No sleep, no dreams, no rest. Just one long, crawling shift from birth to burnout. Now, here's the real plot twist in the tragedy of the worker ant. All that effort, the non-stop hauling, digging, cleaning, feeding, defending, sacrificing, it's not for the community. It's not even for survival. It's for one bug, one massive, bloated, oversized insect sitting in the darkest room of the colony like royalty, the queen. She is the center of their world, and not because she's a great leader, not because she gives pep talks or lends a hand. Oh no, the queen ant doesn't work. She doesn't clean, she doesn't forage, she doesn't even move unless someone makes her. She just lays there, in complete darkness, surrounded by servants. Her only job? Pop out eggs. Thousands. Every day. Like a little biological printer set on infinite copies. She's literally just a living uterus with legs, but make it diva. And the workers? They treat her like a sacred goddess. They feed her, groom her, clean up after her, guard her with their lives, even when she's just lying there in her royal chamber like, ugh, I'm exhausted from all this reproducing. She's the six-legged version of a spoiled celebrity. Imagine if the Kardashians had claws and could birth an army before lunch. And don't get it twisted, the workers never question it. They never gossip about her behind her back, never say, hey, maybe she could, I don't know, help with the dishes? Nope. Her mere presence, her scent, her royal pheromones, they brainwash the whole colony into blind devotion. And if the queen dies, the entire system falls apart. The workers get confused, stop working. Some even lose the will to live. It's like their whole reason for existing just evaporates. So yeah, all the blood, sweat, and crumbs, it goes straight to the top. One queen, millions of slaves, and zero gratitude. If that isn't the most toxic workplace imaginable, I don't know what is. So let's say, after days of endless tunnel duty, you finally get promoted to a new role, forager. Sounds fancy, right? Wrong. It's basically the ant version of being thrown into the Hunger Games. You're told to crawl outside the colony, beyond the safe, dark, humid tunnels, into the wide, wide world above. Fresh air? Sure. Open space? Kinda. Freedom? Not even close. Because the second you break the surface, you're not just a worker ant anymore, you're lunch on legs. The outside world is one giant death trap, and everything is trying to kill you. First threat? Rain. To us, rain is annoying. To an ant, it's the apocalypse. One single drop of water hits the ground, and to you, a tiny, soft-bodied insect, it might as well be a crashing meteor the size of a house. If you get hit, you don't get wet, you get flattened, crushed, or washed away like you never existed. Next up, sunlight. Sure, it's nice for humans, vitamin D and all that, but for an ant, too much direct sun and you're cooked alive, like a tiny raisin with legs. Pavement turns into lava, shadows disappear, and there's nowhere to hide. Then there's the predators, birds, lizards, frogs, even other ants. Everything bigger than you either wants to eat you, step on you, or feed you to their babies. And don't forget the wild card, humans. To us, you're just a little speck on the sidewalk, a smudge we wipe off the counter, a nuisance we sweep away without thinking. Sometimes you get the bored kid with a magnifying glass, sometimes a flip-flop, sometimes poison. No warning, no escape, just splat. Game over. But let's say you survive all that. Let's say you dodge the raindrops, outsmart the lizards, and drag a breadcrumb 3 times your size all the way back to the nest. Do you get a reward? A little praise? A nap, maybe? Some kind of trophy? Nope. You drop the food off, turn around, and get sent right back out again. Same danger, same risk, no recognition. Because in the ant world, survival isn't celebrated, it's expected. So yeah, if you ever see an ant struggling to carry a chunk of potato chip across the sidewalk, maybe don't flick it away. That ant's not just running an errand, she's surviving a war zone, and she's still not getting paid. If there's one thing ant colonies have mastered, besides overwork and exhaustion, it's loyalty. But not the kind of loyalty you see in movies. Not dramatic speeches or slow-motion hero moments. We're talking about scary loyalty, absolute, unquestioning, no-escape loyalty. The kind that's built into their blood. When danger shows up, and it always does, the worker ants don't panic. They don't retreat. They don't ask for help. They launch themselves at the threat. Spider? They'll swarm it. Centipede? They'll bite until they drop. Human foot coming down like a wrecking ball? They'll still charge head first. Sometimes they even form living barricades, linking their bodies together into bridges or walls just to protect the colony for a few extra seconds. They sacrifice themselves like they're disposable. Because to the colony, they kind of are. And the wildest part? They're not doing this for their families, not for friends, not for personal glory. They're doing it for a queen they've never even seen. A queen who doesn't know their name. A queen who's too busy laying eggs to even notice they're gone. They don't get medals. No one sings their name. There's no moment of silence, no in loving memory carved into the side of the nest. They die, and the colony just keeps moving. No pause, no tears, just next ant up, another body, another worker. The machine keeps grinding. And you know what's truly tragic? They're not even aware of the sacrifice. They don't know they're being brave. They just do what they were born to do. And then, they're gone. So yeah, ants are loyal. But it's not the inspiring kind. It's the kind that makes you stop and think, what kind of world teaches you to die without ever asking why? Here's the part they really don't tell you. Worker ants don't retire. There's no golden years, no sunset on the horizon, no tiny ant-sized hammock strung between 2 grass blades, no tiny sunglasses, no fruity drinks. Just work. From the moment she hatches to the day her body gives out, a worker ant does exactly one thing: serve. No promotions, no vacations, no slow fade into peaceful old age. She works until her legs stop moving, until her jaws can't carry another crumb, until she's either crushed, eaten, or collapses in the dirt from pure exhaustion. And when she finally dies, there's no mourning. No one pauses to reflect, no funeral rites under the moonlight. She becomes a job. Another ant picks up her body, no ceremony, no hesitation, and carries it to the colony's trash heap. The ant version of a graveyard. Except it's not sacred. It's just where they dump the dead. A pile of yesterday's heroes, today's waste. No names carved into the tunnel walls, no memorial service, no she gave her life for the colony speech. Just business as usual. The line keeps marching. The tunnels keep digging. The queen keeps laying eggs. And that little worker ant, who spent every second of her life building, feeding, defending, and dying for a system that never once thanked her, is already forgotten. So yeah. Next time you see a line of ants on the sidewalk and you think, wow, look how organized they are, remember this. Behind that perfect little system is a whole world of tiny lives lived in service, without choice, without rest, without reward. They're nature's hardest workers, and it's most underappreciated. And being a worker ant? It sucks.